been some of those highlights in this bill that you're speaking of? So I have heard about it too, but you mentioned the focus on open finance instead rather than open banking. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think obviously a big part of it has been around financial inclusion, right? So what has been, like, can you just give me some bullet points so I don't have to read it again? But go ahead.
Yes, well, the law, the bill has two components. The first one on the biggest one and the most important, the open finance part. It was designed by the Ministry of Finance with the support of the IDB and the University of Chicago. A lot of hands were working with the finance ministry to design the open finance scheme for Chile. It's a scheme focused on financial inclusion and increased competition. So it's really important to know that, because it really opened the field, it balanced the field for the new players in the financial system, the fintechs. When we talk about connecting with banks and begin this concept of reading or writing data with the consent of the customer. So this is the first thing in the first stage. The plan is to begin the implementation with banks that are the biggest repositories of information. And after that, to continue with the entire financial system, like insurance company, like stock brokers, and so on, the entire financial system. And well, of course, with the objective of increased financial inclusion. In Latin America, we have a really important problem, I can say, in terms of financial inclusion. More than 50% of the population don't have a bank, a financial product or service. So this initiative, I'm pretty sure that will boost this financial inclusion in Chile, and in addition in the region, because today, as I was saying, the Chilean fintech law, the project, because today we have still a project, is now a standard. It became a standard for the other countries, because the other countries are looking to, are deciding if they go to an open finance scheme in a market-driven concept, or in a regulatory driving way, the approach to have it. So Chile was the second one after Brazil, because well, the Mexican situation is quite different. Later we will talk about Mexico. But today Chile is a standard for the rest of the countries, like Colombia, Argentina, Peru, and so on. So this is the first chapter, really big, open finance, and then we go with the regulation to other platforms that, as I was saying, we're talking about crowdfunding, cryptocurrencies, exchange of cryptocurrencies, and exchange of CFDs. So this is the two main bullet points: open finance and non-regulated platforms up to now.
So like going to what you were saying about Mexico, or Brazil and other countries in the region, how because you said it's similar to Brazil, but then to an extent to Mexico. So how do you compare the Chile from other parts of the region? Like, how do you describe the landscape ecosystem in Latin America, and then in particular with kind of legislation that's been happening? How would you kind of compare, contrast that?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because the first country I will mention is Mexico. Mexico, it's a really particular situation, because Mexico was the first country in the region who regulate fintech, let's say. It was in 2017, 18 that the bill was issued. It was a law. But the problem, like today we can say, and it's open, everybody knows in the region, the fintech law have a problem because the government didn't give the resources to the regulator to handle all this ecosystem. Because one thing is the bill, a paper, but another thing is the resources, all the people that you will need in addition to your current team to handle of this ecosystem. So Mexico today has something like 500 fintech companies. Let's calculate 200 of them want to be regulated, and there are no hands to manage all these files that the fintech companies give to the regulator looking for an approval to operate. So this is an issue. Indeed, today, 2021, there are just a few fintech licenses approved. There are others in the regulator's office because there are not enough capacity to to process all this ecosystem. So this is an issue, but anyhow, the law uh, allow Mexico to attract a lot of investment. It is interesting to know how a regulation, even if it is not the better, attracts, give certainty to investors. So of course, a lot of investment arrived to Mexico, and today we can say Mexico is the second fintech ecosystem behind Brazil. That we are talking Brazil now like a continent. Brazil is in too many situations. Brazil is not compared, not evaluated as a part of Latin America because well, Brazil with 200 million people and a different language, Portuguese, is different dynamics when we talk about fintech. But this is the situation of Mexico. They are doing well in terms of investment, of financial inclusions. Fintech firms are growing and approaching new segments of populations. In the final line, I'm talking about financial inclusion. But the next one, of course, to have in mind is Brazil. Brazil today is, in my point of view, is the first one in every aspect. First one in size, of course, of the country. The investments are millionaires in terms of volume and in terms of regulation. It's amazing what the government of Brazil is today is still doing. They are in process of creating this space for the new fintech ecosystem that is connecting with the traditional system, and it's really boosting the competition in Mexico. So there are a lot of new companies arriving, growing in Brazil. Today, in Brazil, we can count more than 700 fintech companies. That is a really huge number. So, and indeed, Chile took note of a lot of best practices of the fintech law of Brazil, and more than fintech law and the open finance scheme Brazil create. So I can say there are the two main ecosystem. Brazil, the one to be really close, to look, to follow, because they are doing really well. And after that, we are in a second batch, let's say in the same line, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Peru. So this is the big picture right now.
Do you think with the new law in Chile and just Chile like as a country and as an economy generally is considered to be what the Brussels of Latin America for the most part because it's generally it's pretty high income country, stable for the most part compared to the rest of Latin America. Do you think it can be a leader in regards to fintech in Latin America and beyond? Because you do say Brazil, Mexico, Chile, although the population is smaller, but in terms of this kind of leadership, obviously with this bill law, do you think Chile can be a leader in Latin America with fintech and beyond?
Yes, absolutely. Indeed, it's really interesting to hear that the government already said that they want, and we want, as an industry, as an ecosystem, regulators, financial system, fintech ecosystem, investors, Chilean investors. We want to create this concept of a Chile fintech nation, fintech hub for Latin America, and I'm pretty sure it's possible. It's possible because today there are a lot of examples, well, a lot, but there are examples really clear that shows that size of population it's not the main driver. You know, the case of Singapore, Hong Kong, Luxembourg, fintech hubs, financial hubs that include technology. So they are a fintech hub that when a government privilege this sector, it's quite possible to attract investment and other fintech firms to the country. I'm really amazed with what happened with Singapore, that we have today with less than 6 million inhabitants has more than 130 banks. This is amazing. In Chile, we are 18 million people with 13 banks. There are 6 million people and 130 banks.
And at least
and anyhow, there are business.
Too. At least 500.
That's right.
Well. Yeah, like it's the same as Mexico, basically. But like, look, like it's interesting. It's amazing.
That's
what
right.
Singapore has done.
That's right. So it was the government saying to the world, we are a fintech hub. We are creating all the environment to have to welcome new banks, new fintechs, new technology firms to boost the financial services. And well, today we have this leader, this worldwide leader, Singapore, with others. So I think Chile it's quite possible can achieve this status. It will be it's not a short-term path, but I think that if the government continue and the industry, the ecosystem continue with this objective, maybe in 5 years we will have amazing surprises from Chile, because there is a vibrant ecosystem. Is the more deep financial system in Latin America. A lot of adoption of financial services with the population, and a lot of connectivity in terms of technology. A lot of people with smartphones using financial services. So the platform is already built. Now we have to boost and make it grow. So I'm pretty sure it's quite possible to become Chile into a fintech Latin American fintech hub, or one of the biggest, at least.
Yeah. No, and I've been to Santiago. I've been to Chile before, so it's been a long time. But it's great to see that there's been a lot of changes, and with regards to fintech, because I think when I last went, it didn't really exist. so it's nice that globally that fintech existed since then, and then obviously with everything that's been happening in Chile. So with the law, with this kind of ecosystem as Latin America as a whole, it's been very interesting to hear your insights on it. Do you have any final thoughts before we end this?
Yes, well, the final thing is for everybody who is listening right now, is that today there is a really interesting concept that Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and Chile create, and is the Pacific Alliance. This is a regional group of 4 countries, and this Pacific Alliance set an objective to become into a fintech region. So if everybody is looking to arrive to Latin America, maybe the Pacific Alliance is the first step. When we talk about 4 countries that in an aggregate numbers, we have more than 200 million inhabitants between Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Chile. So it's a big opportunity. All those 4 countries are working really hard to boost the fintech regulation, for instance, the fintech ecosystem. So it's a great opportunity in Latin America, and in a first wave, let's say, because Latin America is too big, the Pacific Alliance is a great opportunity because there are a lot of gaps in terms of financial and innovation, in terms of inclusion for everybody. So a lot of opportunities in Latin America right now.